What is in the cuts? Let's look at that. National Priorities Project put together a good graphic looking at, well, we've got these $85 billion in automatic across-the-board federal spending cuts in 2013 fiscal year, and they're focused mostly on discretionary spending. And let's see, what's the best way to put the graphic up, Natan? I don't know if we can put it up.
I've got it full screen here.
Okay, so NPP outlined this brilliantly. There's 6 areas here: community development block grants, emergency food and shelter programs, Head Start, low-income home energy assistance program, Title I, which are grants to school districts to improve teaching and learning, particularly in low-income schools. Yeah, we don't need that, do we? And the WIC program, Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children. If you look at the third column in this graphic, and I'll tell you what it is for people who aren't watching, that shows the percentage change in these categories from fiscal year 2010 to 2013. And these range anywhere from, the only one that saw an increase was Head Start, a paltry 5% increase there. All the others saw significant decreases up to and including almost 53% for the emergency food and shelter program. These are social programs, education programs, important stuff. The last column here shows the cuts that would result in addition to what mostly have been pretty extensive cuts already to these programs as a result of the sequester. Community development block grants would lose $160 million additional dollars after losing 35% over the last 4 fiscal years. Emergency food and shelter programs would lose $5 million. Head Start would lose $410 million. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, which is subsidizing stipends for energy costs for low-income households, just for people to stay warm in the winter. $154 million cut there. And incredibly, Title I, which are these grants to school districts to improve teaching, $740 million would be cut. So we look at this, and then from Republicans, what complaints do we hear? We hear that the cuts do too much to defense spending. Defense spending, which has already been widely addressed by Pentagon and military officials, as saying there's spending built in there that we're doing and we plan to do that nobody's even asked for, that we don't even need, and we still are adding in all of these increases. Those cuts, Republicans very, very concerned about, but look at what's happening to these social programs, Louis.
Yeah, and when you compare this to military spending,
right?
You know, one jet, one of the highest end of any military aircraft or vehicle.
It's the entire cut in some of these examples.
It's triple the entire cut.
It's incredible. Now, let me go to Natan on this thought. What do you think is the most likely outcome here? Is it just going to be it goes a month or two and then there's just some kind of compromise cuts that nobody is particularly thrilled with or angry with? Is that just kind of the MO in Congress at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the only alternative is to just let them go into effect, have all of the cuts that are going to come into play, and just suffer through it. I mean, if they don't fix it within the first couple of months after it goes into effect, I don't know whether it's really realistic to expect them to do something in a year when almost everything has already happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the effect will be on the economy specifically of just dealing with the cuts. There's a range of opinions. None of them say it'll be particularly good. I also wonder, polling indicating that right now, Americans would mostly think if these cuts happen, and it appears they will, that it is mostly the fault of Republicans. I wonder how that, if at all, will play into the decisions politicians make about how to resolve this going forward. And how will it change the polling and the perception?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I think if there is any type of economic, boost from this, you can count on every single Republican claiming that it's because of these cuts.
Right. I don't think that's going to happen,
No.
but you're absolutely right that they would try to claim it.